You guys haven't seen her in forever, right? Yeah, she was one of the reasons. I think the last time you was on, I had like 5 subscribers. I got like 42, 44,
Nice.
43. So,
yeah, that was when Corona first started.
Yeah.
We were in quarantine.
Yeah. Before I had the camera rolling, I was telling my sister about the whole Kyle Reynolds house case. I guess it would be a case now because he's been arrested. But you know about the reason why it started in Kenosha, right?
The protests. Yeah. I'm familiar, but
about Jacob Blake. About he got shot 7 times in his back because
right. Yeah.
He was wrestling with a cop. One of the cops tased him. He wrestled out of that too, and they all had guns drawn on him. Shouting commands, and he decided not to comply, and he went into his car. He was reaching for something in his car. Now a lot of people was just like he was just getting into his car. That's when all the shots happened. And, but now the city's on fire. So, but the thing is, one of my things is when I was just thinking about just how interesting people just don't care about that anymore. The truth, they just moved on to the next thing, and and then Kyle, he. I can't remember exactly where he lived, but he lived like about 30 minutes away from Kenosha, and he wanted to help with protecting businesses from being destroyed due to the riots. The protests turned to riots, because that happens. Right. So and he wanted to help out, and then he also wanted to help people. He wanted to help people that was hurt, in fact, and try to help put out fires. Right. In fact, I just saw today. More footage of him. That's what he was down there to do. You actually seen him running. He had his AR-15 like right here,
right.
And then it's a rifle, of course. Then he was running with like a fire extinguisher. Presumably to put out a fire.
To protect himself.
Yeah. But then after that, he had this altercation with these 2 guys. One of the guys, he just wanted to fight. Like once when you see the video, he just wanted to fight people.
She's one of the problem. Yeah. And then I think you were saying the next guy was like a registered sex offender.
Well, that was the first guy. But the thing is that again, a lot of people they hate that too. It's like because it was like with the George Floyd case, it was like, oh well, he wasn't a good guy anyway. That's kind of like how it seems. It's like So I guess I hear that because when you think about it, okay, what does his past have to do with what was happening right now?
I guess that's a good point.
So yeah, and they was doing the exact same thing with the registered sex offender, but at the same time. When you have like a criminal history, typically the reason why you're in that situation is because you still got that behavior. So I understand why people bring it up. They're like, oh, okay, you did the reason why you're in that situation is because of you.
Right.
So I understand why people bring it up, but I also understand the opposition on why you shouldn't bring it up. But be as it may, like during the Kyle Reynolds situation, because. Before we, and that's another thing, and, everybody was rushing to jump to conclusions about what Kyle did was wrong, right?
Yeah.
Because he's white, 17, he went to, another person's, I guess, state, and with a rifle, and then, he gunned somebody down, but if he was black, that wouldn't have happened or something like that, right? But as more evidence and more information came out. Kyle was innocent. The only thing that he was guilty of was having a gun. Because the thing is that I think where he lived, somewhere in Wisconsin, you're supposed to be 18. And he was 17. That was the only thing that he did that was wrong. Because when you look at the tape, he was running away from the first guy. The one that really wanted to fight, and then. And I think you hear shots, you hear gunfire, but it's not coming from him, So the thing is that he's disengaging Kyle, so he's not an aggressor. It's the other people.
Right, those are the aggressors.
And he ends up shooting him dead. Instantly calls the cops. You see this all in the video. All in the video. He instantly calls the cops. He stays there by the body, but of course he's now being sworn. He's in a protest / riot. Right. So He's trying to, he's on the phone with the cops, but then, people are starting to come and be like, hey, you just shot someone. And then you hear one dude's like, yo, you get the F out of here. You know what I mean? So he takes off running again. But then you hear the person like, he's just shot someone. And you get him. And that's when he's running, and then like a guy hits him with the skateboard. He falls to the ground because he lost his footing. Guy hits him with a skateboard, which was the second guy I showed you.
Yeah.
He has a jam. He clears this
action movie type.
Yeah, he clears the jam, shoots the guy. Right. And I think it was like another guy that was coming to assault him, and then he turns around, he shoots him in the arm, and the other guy had a gun.
Wow.
And he shoots him in the arm with the gun.
This guy's 17.
Yeah, and the thing is that he caught two guys. Yeah, he was on the ground when he shot the other two guys. And then immediately, when he did that, he rushed to go to the cops to try and stop them. But the cops were more focused on trying to like get the protest / riot somewhere else in the city. They was trying to control the mass.
Wow.
So they weren't really focusing in on him. But again, people was like, yeah, but if it was a black guy with the rifle and stuff like that, but rather than seeing it, this kid was trying to defend himself, and he wasn't even white. He's Hispanic.
Okay. So
so Kyle isn't even
they're just trying to find excuses.
So the thing is that I was just curious of how it just always interests me how quick people are to like condemn, because I know mainly is for two reasons. It's tribalism. I've spoke about it on my channel before, and misinformation. And I believe how, and I guess you can talk a little bit more about that as well, because of how just how quick it is to not understand how quick it is to like believe a lie or want to believe a lie.
Right, or just want to continue believing something.
You know what I mean?
One of the only things that I am just disconcerted by with all these protests, it's hard to keep up at this point.
Yeah.
How come Corona isn't affecting any of them?
Because Corona is so woke, I can't believe it. Like, shout out to Corona for
COVID,
just
self-aware
COVID
virus.
is just so aware that
that's just my only.
Like, I've seen them partying. I've seen them like they're partying. They go into like private neighborhoods. I've seen where they're just waking. They like going to neighborhoods like this. They're quiet, telling people to wake up.
Right.
And yet we don't hear any sick cases
that's the
from
only
COVID.
thing.
Yeah.
I actually watching.
That's so interesting.
Paul Joseph Watson. I don't know if you guys watch him.
Paul Joseph Watson. Yeah.
PJW. That guy's awesome. Anarchist. But he was basically saying like, some of these protests are people reacting to things that don't even affect them.
No.
And it's just so obvious that it's not affecting them, because what really is affecting us is COVID, and no one is paying attention to that. So these protests are just, at this point, I think. Yeah, I mean, and at this point for me too, it seems almost like a ritual, like these protests, or just like these.
Every 4 years. They come around every 4 years.
Yeah, it just seems like a ritual. Like, I'm not saying don't fight for what you believe in. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it just seems kind of ritualistic what's going on. Like, it just seems like a formula, and we're just always falling for it. Like,
I always feel like
person gets shot, or someone gets killed by someone they feel like shouldn't have murdered them. This person is responsible for an overgeneralization of white people are this, or Spanish people are this. Like, it's just becoming really.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it comes from a tribal. It's like all tribal.
Right, you were saying that earlier. What did you mean by tribalism?
Like, because your side versus my side. When I always say when Obama was talking, and he had one speech where he was saying how there's no such thing as black or white American. It's just American. But that was never the truth ever. What I mean? There's always been some sort of divide. And the thing is that it's nice to say that, and I do respect those people that do that. Be like, I'm not, black. I'm not white. I'm just an American. They just go with the idea. But most of the people just don't do that. You know what I mean? Most people just try to be like, I am black. And this is what is happening. I am white, and this is what's happening. I am Mexican. And, they go with their identity and they go with their tribe. And it's not even just in America that we see it in. Japan, they do it too. And they're more. And if you ask me, they're more racist than anybody else. Like, I believe that there's still. If you go to China, there's still Chinese only bathhouses. So it's like,
It's unfortunate.
you know, and I'm
Wow,
pretty sure
2020.
it's solid too, so, but hey, look, it's China, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even
So,
if we humble ourselves in some of these cases, there isn't really any racial implication. Most of it is, especially once when you look into some of these cases, don't really want to break it down, especially Breonna Taylor's case. It wasn't necessarily racism. It was literally a big mess up. It was kind of like one of those,
mistake.
it's like, and that's like the worst job. It's like two jobs that's worse to be bad at, and or worse to like make a mistake at, and that's what, being a doctor, being in the medical field, or being a cop.
Yeah, and being a civil servant, because
Because
like social
somebody
workers
can lose their life.
Yeah, even like just any civil servant for real, or any servant. So
Right.
the medical field or civil servants, like, for example, if I'm a social worker, I'm supposed to be helping a child, but I send
Right.
a child to the wrong home, and that child now gets
So
it's like, these things are really hard jobs, like you're saying, and I think that we not really necessarily need to give these people a break, but we have to look at these things from all angles. Like, they're humans, and they just happen to be carrying around that body.
Yeah.
So it's like, dang, like, you are white shooting a black woman, but we gotta look at it as a
and that's
bigger
when that
picture.
tribal thing comes in, where
Right. We gotta
because the
look
thing
at it.
is that, like, especially if you look into the George Floyd case, right? I even was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, I believe that the cops are going to get off, and I pulled up their policies, and it was like one of the, and I guess I'll post that on the screen as well.
Yeah.
And it was saying, like, when you read it, the cop could do the neck to the knee.
It's insane.
And they understood that because, and I'm gonna post this as well, they updated it saying they can no longer do it. And they did that back in June.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
right.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, they did it back in June. So it wasn't necessarily like wasn't necessarily a race thing. It's more like,
This is a
etiquette
poor
thing.
tactic, right?
Yeah.
This is a poor tactic.
And with
we should
Breonna
have.
Taylor, that was more like a, one of those really, like, they were going on a gut feeling.
Yeah.
And they were wrong. And somebody lost their life for it.
Right, and
that-
this happens every day, guys.
Yeah.
This happens every day. Like, what happened to Breonna Taylor is not new. My thing is, what I was saying earlier is, at what point do we start seeing that the mainstream media is ritualistically pushing certain things to sway the mass agenda, the mass perception? Because these things are happening all the time. Like, for example, this one guy he shows a video of someone getting hurt, and they're trying to make it like a racial thing, and the mainstream media gets this video. It doesn't really matter the nuances of the story. It just matters that out of all the things that are going on in the world at any given point, the mainstream media decides to report this.
Yeah.
So because they're pushing the stories they want. Who gets to say what is news? I can't say what news is. I might be able to tell you what happened in my day, but how can I tell the general public what I feel is important?
Yeah.
And we have to be careful what we listen to, because the mainstream media, their job is to push a particular
And most of it is liberal. Most of the mainstream media leans left, so you're getting leftist propaganda mostly. Like
I'm so glad you said that word, propaganda, because it exists, and people get paid to get better at.
And the thing is that even though we say propaganda isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, because most of the time, especially like almost in every single nation, they have some sort of propaganda. But you can use it to try to help, curb like those extremist groups. You know what I'm saying? Trying to fight against those extremist groups. Like, for instance, like we used it during, I guess, when the Black Panthers, when they were infiltrated, because they were considered an extremist group, especially when you read like their ideology. Most of it was like anti-capitalism, anti-American. So I understand that.
Also, like you're saying, propaganda isn't always bad, because Colgate used to say 80% of dentists suggest Colgate.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, okay, maybe 80% of them do suggest Colgate, but they could be suggesting other things too.
Right.
It's not always bad. It's just it exists, and we have to be mindful of it. We have to be conscious that this is what the media. That's what they do. You have to pick it apart yourself. You have to be discerning, and then you also have to kind of detach yourself from, like you're saying, the tribalism. You have to see things for what it is.
I mean, it's tough because, like, even when I saw what happened to George Floyd, it's to try to stay objective and to call it down the middle.
Right.
It's tough.
This guy's like mom right before he dies. Like, it's like your heart.
Right.
It's like
it's like, I didn't even see the first video. I only saw the one with the clips. You know, I try to stay away from it, but you know, cause just to try to keep try to call it down the middle, because I know like how everybody else is just gonna react.
Right.
You know, somebody can't, not everybody can react. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because then you end up making mistakes and you know, be posting lies.
And misinformation. This is a real thing.
Misinformation.
Guys. Yeah, it's a real thing, especially for younger generation, like people my age and younger. We find most of our information, we hold most of our information to be true from social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. That's where our news is. And we can't even fake about that. So we have to be very careful what information we're pushing, what information we're taking in, because you know these people are getting paid to do this. What they wake up in the morning to do. We have to be mindful that this is the story they want to push. You know,
this is the story they want to push. Yeah, and try not to be swayed. You know, and you know, and when it's wrong information, I would say be humble. Be humble about it. You don't even have to apologize. Just strike it down off your page, you know. But I guess some of these guys just don't think they're wrong, you know, or they don't care. Maybe they don't even care that they're wrong. You know what I mean? They don't mind dragging people's names. You've seen it again with what was it? That one kid. Now he's a millionaire now. So like the kid that went to protest abortion. And then, like, the Native American jumped in his face.
Oh, my God.
You remember? You never seen that?
Never seen that.
You are so... You're clocked out.
Yeah, I really try
I need to be like you.
Attention.
I need to be more like you.
I try to live my life.
But yeah.
Personal sphere.
But they switched. They try to twist it and try to ruin this kid's life. The mainstream.
And you're saying now he's a millionaire because
because he went and sued them.
Right.
He went and sued them for defamation of character.
Nice.
You know, because like all of the media was against him, and then he and I think he like settled on his birthday. They settled on his birthday.
That's beautiful.
You know, so that's
beautiful.
Cool.
Because, I just once again we gotta be very careful because I've even met in Baltimore they have a couple radio stations and you know like studios, and when you talk to these people, they don't care. All they do is clock in and they go home. Like, they don't care like generally about what they're doing for the population. Like a lot of people don't. You know, even people in the military, everything's kind of compartmentalized. They don't understand the largesse of what they're doing. They don't care because they're probably in it for the money or whatever personal reasons. So we can't just hold people like Rachel Maddow to high esteem, or these people to high esteem.
No.
They're just clocking in. This is their career, you know. I don't think they care too much about Jacob Blake or Kyle, or if they do, they would be telling the truth. What can we do next? Like we're starting to see, or at least the people who subscribe to you, I'm assuming that they like what they hear and they agree with some of the things you're saying. So we're starting to see that the mainstream media has its own agenda. So what do we do from there? Like, where do we get our news from? Or where do we get our...
Me, personally, I usually go to alternate sites. And then the thing is that, you know, I try to stay away from a lot of... because, again, it's left-leaning, which means that they're going to try to move you towards that left. I wouldn't necessarily call them liberal, because liberal is like freedom of thought, being able to, like, pull, you know... but I wouldn't even say that freedom of thought. They're actually trying to fix you into like, I'll call it social engineering, conditioning, condition you into like thinking a certain way. So when you know an election comes up, you vote the way they want you to, or you place people in power that they want you to, you know, place in the power. You know, when they tell you to go vote, they don't mean go vote. You know, like do it one day, do it. When they tell you, hey, did you vote? But like, yeah, and then tell them you vote for the other person and see, you know, look at their face and just look at their face. They don't, you know, it's not necessarily about when they say go vote. They don't mean go vote for the other person. They mean, you know, vote the way they need you to vote, or want you to vote. I'll order us here.
We should have done a mukbang.
We should have done a mukbang. You want to go get it and we can just finish it. We can just eat it,
I will take a break, guys. We'll be right back.
No, I'm going to just cut it straight to us eating. Yeah. We got Nando's. Show them what we got.
Nando's. Sponsor us.
So we got two people that need to sponsor us. Like
right now.
like right now.
We don't make the rules. That's cute.
Diet Coke because I'm cutting. That's actually from somebody.
Okay. Potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I got some mashed potatoes because I love the carbs. And they don't really do anything to me.
Oh, you're like what? 50 pounds, right? We're sharing
a half a chicken.
half chicken.
So good. I think it's hot, so if any of us starts crying, y'all know why. Don't judge my brother. Real men cry too.
I mean, I think I don't know what I ate. Like it was a couple days ago that destroyed my stomach.
Oh man.
Like it was like I don't know what I ate. But,
while we're doing this, let's talk about some of the words we hear now that we've never heard before. Social distance.
I mean,
together at home. That one's an oxymoron. I hate that one. That doesn't even make any sense. What's another one? Quarantine shaming.
What?
You know, never heard that one?
No, I haven't.
People who do not follow the rules of like curfew or social distancing, they're quarantine shamed.
That's crazy.
Nothing ever.
So, but like, I guess all of BLM would be quarantine shamed, right?
Pretty much. But what's another one?
I guess since
I think you said social engineering. That's kind of new too.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, I mean, I'm using that because that's just what happened. But again, to be manipulated, you have to want it as well. You have to want to be manipulated because you can do what I'm doing.
And that's really our goal here. We're not trying to condemn anybody, judge anyone, because we don't know the whole truth. No one will until whoever created this page comes back. But what we can do is we can, like you said, humble ourselves, and we can just take things as they come. Like I don't think we shouldn't put our ego into it. I think that's what leads these mainstream, or that's what leads these people to make it, like you're saying, a left right kind of thing. I think it's our egos.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to find the truth too, guys.
Yeah.
So we try to push the truth.
I understand making mistakes, you know what I'm saying, but like some of them, I don't even think they care. It's like once when they get the lie out, they get enough people believing it.
They don't care about the
They don't care about what happens next.
Right. It's like when artists make an album. Real artists, their album will never be perfect. That's the part of being an artist. But then their manager, their PR team is like, all right, bro, it's ready. Just put it out. So it's kind of like that. It's like, once we have it out there, who cares? Once they drop their article or whatever propaganda, whatever information, it's out there and ether. They don't
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, you have to have your own personal discernment and what you take in, what you absorb. I know for myself, I'm a sponge. I'm very emotional. So I have to literally block my mind off to certain things. I have to practice that. Like I said, I'm an emotional person, so I get to going deep into these conversations, deep into these things, and I find the truth, and I'm like, what? This person's wrong. You've been wrong this whole time, And it's like,
yeah.
That's why I try to block my mind off to certain things, especially these protests, because it just seems ritualistic. It just seems like a formula every 4 years, or whatever formula they have. It just seems like it comes around the same time, like a cold or something. So I just try not to listen to it. But it's unfortunate that anyone is getting killed, and then anyone feels like their life is in danger. It doesn't matter what color, size, shape you are.
All right, you guys. But that's it for today. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you know the next time that I'm posting. I'm going to try to get my sister on here a little bit more frequent to talk about these social things. I was going to do this by myself, but she was like, nah, Tim, I'm going to drop in. But yeah.
You know I gotta talk my trash.
She got to talk her talk. But yeah, you guys take care, be safe, and peace.